Hi guys, it's me Akanksha. Welcome to Come Code Conquer. In today's video, we're going to see how to use conditional statements in Python. There are three conditional statements that we are going to see, which are if, elif, and else. When we want to execute a statement or a set of statements depending on a condition, we use these statements in Python. So if some condition is satisfied, that is, if the result of a condition is a Boolean value true, then only it will run a set of statements, otherwise it won't. Now let's start with a simple problem statement. Let's say we want to check if a student has passed an exam or not. So if his marks are greater than 40, we say he has passed. So let's go ahead and type our code. Let's say a variable marks is equal to, let's take an input from user. Let's say input in the bracket. Let's type please enter your marks. And then let's convert these marks into integer, as we all know that input function returns only string. So let's typecast this into integer. So it's very simple to use if statement. Just type if followed by your expression or condition. So in our case, it's marks greater than equal to 40 and then ended by a colon. Now everything that we type under this if statement will be executed if this condition is satisfied. So let's type print you have passed. Right? Now the space before this print method is very important. It tells Python interpreter that these statements are inside this if statement. Now what if we type other statements after if? Let's say print done. Right? Now let's run it. It says please enter your marks. Let's say 89. Press enter. Right? It says you have passed, as 89 is greater than equal to 40, and then it printed out done. Now what if done was inside if statement? To do that, just press a tab right before the print statement of done. Now let's run it again. Let's say this time we enter just 35, which is less than 40. It printed out nothing because this condition was not satisfied and hence these two statements did not run. Right? Now let's run it again and say 89 again, and it prints out both the statements as this condition has satisfied. Now let's say we want to print you have failed if marks are less than 40. So all you need to do is that if your marks is greater than equal to 40, then do this. Else, so for else statement, you just need to type else and then a colon. No expression or condition is required for else statement. And inside this else statement, you just type print you have failed. Right? Now let's go ahead and run it. Let's say our marks are 35 and here it says you have failed. So what happened is it went into the if statement. It checked that marks 35 is greater than equal to 40. It's not. So it did not go into this block of statements. It went directly into the else part and hence it was printed that you have failed. Now let's make this program more interesting. Let's say I have a few more conditions to grade a student according to these marks and not just print out pass or fail. Let's say I have a few conditions. If marks is greater than equal to 80, then grade A. If marks is between 70 and 80, then grade B. If marks are between 60 and 70, then grade C. If marks are between 40 and 60, then grade D. And if marks are less than 40, then grade F. So this can be achieved by using if statements for all the conditions. So let's type them one by one. So the first condition is if marks is greater than equal to 80, then I need to print grade A. Then if marks is greater than equal to 70 and marks less than 80, then print grade B. If marks is greater than equal to 60 and marks less than 70, then print grade C. If marks is greater than equal to 40 and marks is less than 60, print grade D. If marks are less than 40, then print grade F. And then in the end, I want to print right. So this is what our code looks like now. Right. So let's go ahead and run it. Let's say our marks as 50 and it says grade B. How? It went into this if statement. It checked if 50 is greater than equal to 80. It's not. So then it comes this if statement. Even that is not satisfied. And then even this is not satisfied. And finally, if marks is between 40 and 60, it was grade B. So it printed out grade B. If it checked here also, if marks is less than 40, it did not satisfy, and then finally it printed out done. Now this is a very inefficient way of writing if statements. When we execute this program, what happens is each of these if statements are executed even when it was not required. What we require is that if one condition fails, then only check other conditions. If it is satisfied, then there is no need to check for other conditions, right? To achieve this, there is an else if conditional statement using elif. So let's modify this code to a very efficient one. So change all the if statements to else if except the first one. So the first one remains as it is. This becomes elif. Even this becomes elif. This becomes elif, and even this, right? Now what would happen is if I get marks greater than equal to 80, then it will jump out of this if statement and directly go to this last print done statement. All these will not be executed, right? So let's go ahead and run it. Let's enter 60. So again, it checked if 60 is greater than equal to 80. It's not. So it went here. If it comes under this condition, no, because it is not between 70 and 80. And finally, it came here. So it printed out grade C. And then these conditions were not checked. It went out directly of the if statement and finally it printed out done. Correct? Now, what if I entered some random number greater than 100? So let's say my marks greater than 100, let's say 115. It's an invalid input, right? Even then it printed out grade A because we have not mentioned any condition that it should be less than 100, right? So what we need to do is we need to again check here that marks should be less than or equal to 100, right? Now this is a complete statement that we need to have, and let's run it and type out 115 again, and it did not print out any grade. But we want to let user know, right, that this is an invalid input. So in this case, we use else statement at the end of if else block. So if, else if, and then finally if none of these conditions are satisfied, goes into the else block of the if statement. So then we can type out invalid input. Right, now let's run it again and say our marks are 115, and here it says invalid input, and then done. So that's all for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Try it yourself and let me know in the comment section below how easy was it for you to write these conditional statements. If you enjoyed this video, please like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you have any queries, please feel free to comment below. Also, don't forget to press the bell icon to come code with me and conquer the world.